Throughout the ages, hidden wisdom has been passed down, whispering truths about the nature of reality and our place within it. From the cryptic teachings of ancient sages to the sacred texts guarded by mystics, this knowledge has endured, often concealed in symbols, allegories, and secret traditions. Among these profound insights are the Seven Hermetic Principles, universal laws said to govern existence itself. Rooted in the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, these principles reveal the unseen forces shaping our lives and the cosmos, offering those who seek wisdom a pathway to deeper understanding, alignment, and transformation. If these principles are not confined to esoteric texts, what if, hidden in plain sight, they also resonate through the teachings of one of history's most revered spiritual figures, Jesus of Nazareth? Could it be that the wisdom of Hermeticism and the message of Christ are, at their core, one and the same? In this exploration, we'll journey beyond the surface of traditional interpretations. We'll look at the words of Jesus not just as moral lessons, but as reflections of universal laws, timeless truths that bridge the gap between the material and the divine. His teachings, often seen through a religious lens, may in fact hold keys to a greater understanding of reality, one that aligns with the ancient Hermetic tradition. Join us as we uncover the Seven Hermetic Principles through the lens of Jesus' teachings, the harmony between Hermeticism and Christ's teachings. Hermeticism, a mystical tradition rooted in the teachings of Hermes Trismegistus, holds that the universe operates under 7 fundamental principles, guiding forces that influence everything from the movement of the stars to the thoughts in our minds. These principles serve as keys to understanding the cosmos and our role as spiritual beings navigating the physical realm. For centuries, seekers of wisdom have turned to Hermeticism for insight into the mysteries of existence. But while it may seem esoteric, its themes are not unfamiliar. Nearly 2,000 years ago, in a small region of the Roman Empire, a teacher emerged, one who would forever alter the spiritual landscape. Jesus of Nazareth spoke of divine love, the nature of the soul, and the inner workings of the kingdom of heaven. His words captivated multitudes, offering profound wisdom wrapped in parables and metaphors. At first glance, these two traditions may seem distinct, one a product of ancient Egypt and Greece, the other born in the heart of Judea. Yet beneath the surface, they share an underlying harmony. Both point to universal truths, principles that transcend time, culture, and religious doctrine. Jesus taught not just morality, but an understanding of the nature of existence itself. Could it be that, in his own way, Jesus was expressing the same timeless laws that Hermeticism holds dear? In the teachings of Christ, do we find echoes of Hermetic wisdom? As we delve deeper into the 7 Hermetic Principles, we will explore their reflections in the words of Jesus and uncover how these teachings converge on a path to higher understanding. The first principle is mentalism. The all is mind. The universe is mental. The first of the 7 Hermetic Principles is mentalism, the idea that everything that exists originates in consciousness. The physical world, the forces that govern it, and even our thoughts are all expressions of a single infinite mind. Reality, at its core, is shaped by perception, thought, and awareness. Long before this principle was written down, Jesus spoke of the power of the mind and heart. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Proverbs 23:7. Though found in the Old Testament, this teaching was echoed by Jesus in his ministry. Our thoughts are not passive, they are creative forces that shape our reality. What we dwell upon in our minds determines who we become and how we experience the world. Jesus repeatedly urged his followers to transform their inner world, emphasizing that true change begins within. His message was clear: the external world is a reflection of our internal state. This mirrors the Hermetic idea that the universe is mental, created by thought, intention, and belief. When Jesus said, "If you have faith as small as a mustard seed, you can move mountains," Matthew 17:20, he was pointing to the power of belief, how the mind, aligned with divine purpose, can influence the material world. It is through focused thought and unwavering faith that we tap into the creative force of the universe. In this way, the teachings of Jesus are not just about moral guidance, they are about mastering the mind. Through faith and focused intention, we unlock the true potential of our consciousness. As we think, so we become. The universe bends to the power of the mind. Mentalism teaches us that the mind is the root of all creation, and Jesus invites us to use this power wisely, to align our thoughts with love, faith, and higher purpose. The second principle is correspondence. As above, so below. As below, so above. The principle of correspondence reveals the interconnectedness of all things, teaching us that the microcosm reflects the macrocosm, and the spiritual mirrors the physical. What happens in the heavens is mirrored on earth, and what occurs within us is reflected in the world around us. Jesus, too, spoke of this profound connection. In Luke 17:21, he declared, "The kingdom of God is within you." Here, Jesus is pointing to the same truth that Hermeticism teaches. The divine is not distant or separate from us. It exists within us, and the universe itself is a reflection of our inner world. What we cultivate internally manifests externally. This principle also explains the way Jesus performed miracles. He did not see himself as working against nature, but in harmony with it. When he healed the sick, walked on water, or turned water into wine, he was demonstrating a mastery of the unseen forces that govern reality. He understood the spiritual laws that operate behind the physical world, just as Hermeticism teaches that by understanding the higher realms, we can influence the lower ones. Jesus also reinforced this principle in his prayer, "Thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven." Matthew 6:10. This is the very essence of correspondence. The divine plan manifests in both realms, and what exists in the heavens finds its reflection on earth. In essence, Jesus was not just speaking of an external kingdom, but an inner one that mirrors the divine nature of the cosmos. By recognizing this, we gain a deeper understanding of our connection to the universe and our role in shaping reality. As we continue this exploration, we will uncover how Jesus' words align with the remaining Hermetic principles: vibration, polarity, rhythm, cause and effect, and gender. Each of these principles offers a new lens through which to view his teachings, revealing a hidden wisdom that has transcended centuries. Could it be that the message of Christ and the truths of Hermeticism are one and the same? If so, what does this mean for how we understand spirituality today? Stay with us as we dive deeper into these sacred parallels, uncovering a hidden harmony between ancient wisdom and divine revelation. The third Hermetic principle is vibration. Nothing rests, everything moves. Everything in existence vibrates. At the core of this principle is the understanding that all things in the universe, from the tiniest subatomic particles to the grandest celestial bodies, are in constant motion. Even what seems solid and unchanging is actually vibrating at the molecular level. This continuous rhythmic energy flows through every aspect of creation, shaping the very fabric of reality. Jesus, too, understood the power of vibration. Though he did not use this terminology, his words and actions revealed a profound awareness of energetic movement and its influence on the world around him. One of the most striking examples of this is found in Mark 4:39, when Jesus calmed the raging storm. The disciples, fearful for their lives, awakened him as the winds howled and the waves crashed against their boat. Jesus did not panic. He simply stood and spoke, "Peace, be still." Instantly, the storm ceased. The winds, which moments before had threatened to capsize their vessel, stilled into a perfect calm. The water, once wild and chaotic, became serene. This was more than just a miracle. It was a demonstration of the principle of vibration in action. Jesus did not merely quiet the external forces, he brought harmony to the underlying energetic frequencies of the storm itself. His words carried an energy so powerful, so perfectly aligned with divine authority, that they altered the very vibration of nature, restoring equilibrium where there had been turmoil. Similarly, Jesus' healings were not random acts of divine intervention, but clear manifestations of the principle that all things vibrate at different frequencies. Illness, pain, and suffering are states of lower vibration, manifestations of imbalance in the body, mind, and spirit. Jesus, through his boundless love, faith, and divine power, raised people's vibrational state. When he healed the blind, restored the lame, or cast out afflictions, He was not simply curing diseases, he was shifting their energetic state, elevating them to a frequency of wholeness and health. In John 11:43, we witness perhaps the most astonishing example of Jesus' mastery over vibration. Lazarus had been dead for 4 days. His body had succumbed to the lowest possible vibration, stillness, decay, death. Yet Jesus stood before the tomb, lifted his voice and declared, "Lazarus, come forth." These words were not spoken in vain, they were infused with divine energy, an undeniable force of life. The vibrations of his voice, resonating with faith, command, and absolute certainty, reversed the natural process of death itself. Life returned to Lazarus, his heart began to beat again, and he stepped from the tomb, alive. The principle of vibration teaches us that our words, thoughts, and emotions are not idle. They are active forces of energy. Every thought we entertain, every word we speak, and every emotion we feel carries a vibration that influences both our inner world and the reality around us. Jesus showed us that faith, spoken intention, and unwavering belief can shift our reality. When he told his followers that faith the size of a mustard seed could move mountains, he was not speaking in mere metaphor. He was revealing a fundamental truth of the universe. By aligning ourselves with the right frequency, the frequency of love, peace, and divine purpose, we can shape our lives and the world around us. The universe is alive with vibration, and Jesus calls us to attune ourselves to its highest frequencies. When we align our hearts and minds with faith, love, and divine truth, we elevate not only ourselves but also those around us. We become co-creators in the divine rhythm of existence, resonating with the harmony of creation itself. The fourth Hermetic principle is polarity. Everything is dual. Everything has its pair of opposites. This principle teaches that opposites are not truly separate, but are different degrees of the same thing. White and dark, hot and cold, joy and sorrow, all are part of the same continuum, existing only in relation to each other. Without one, the other could not be known. The essence of life itself is built upon contrast. We understand warmth because we have felt cold. We appreciate peace because we have known conflict. Jesus frequently spoke of these opposites and their deeper spiritual meaning. His teachings were filled with paradoxes that reflected the unity hidden within duality. In Matthew 20:16, he declared, "The last shall be first, and the first last." This is more than a moral lesson. It is an expression of the Hermetic principle of polarity. What appears to be a contradiction is, in truth, an insight into the deeper nature of existence. What seems like opposites, last and first, high and low, are part of the same divine cycle, constantly shifting and transforming into one another. The mighty fall so that the humble may rise, and those who suffer today may rejoice tomorrow. This continuous interplay of forces is not chaos but an orchestrated balance that ensures growth and transformation. Throughout his ministry, Jesus taught that humility leads to greatness, that life emerges from death, and that strength is found in weakness. These teachings are not contradictions, but insights into the truth of polarity. Just as light cannot exist without darkness, greatness cannot exist without the experience of humility. Without trials, we would never understand triumph. Without suffering, we would not recognize joy. Jesus showed us that embracing the extremes of life, both the highs and the lows, leads to spiritual wholeness. To reject pain is to reject growth. To deny sorrow is to deny the fullness of joy. He exemplified this through his own life, enduring suffering and rejection so that he could ultimately transcend them and reveal a greater truth. In Luke 9:24, Jesus says, "For whoever wants to save their life will lose it, but whoever loses their life for my sake will save it." This profound statement is another reflection of polarity. To truly live, one must embrace death. Death of the ego, death of attachment to the material world. Through this sacrifice, we find true life, eternal and unshakable. It is only by letting go that we can truly receive, and only by surrendering that we can attain true victory. The Hermetic principle of polarity reminds us that every experience, whether joyful or painful, contains its opposite. It is through embracing both sides of the spectrum that we find balance and transcend the illusion of separation. To recognize this truth is to free oneself from fear. for pain is never permanent, and darkness always gives way to light. Jesus invited his followers to see beyond the surface of duality and to recognize the unity behind it. He urged them to love their enemies, to bless those who cursed them, and to find strength in their weakest moments. These teachings were not merely ethical guidelines, but profound spiritual truths that pointed to the deeper harmony of existence. In the end, the opposites we encounter in life are not in conflict. They are in harmony, constantly flowing into one another as part of the divine plan. Just as night gives birth to day and winter melts into spring, all things exist in a sacred rhythm of transformation. Jesus teaches us that to understand the fullness of life, we must accept both joy and suffering, strength and weakness. And in doing so, we rise above the polarities that seem to divide us. True wisdom lies in recognizing that all things, even those that seem opposed, are part of the same divine whole. The fifth Hermetic principle is rhythm. Everything flows in and out. Cycles are an intrinsic part of life, and everything follows a natural rhythm. The tides ebb and flow, the sun rises and sets, and seasons transition in perfect harmony. Rhythm is a constant force, teaching us that everything moves in cycles, and each cycle has its own significance and timing. Jesus, too, spoke of these rhythms in his teachings. He often referred to the divine timing of all things, saying that for everything, there is a season and a time for every purpose under heaven. Ecclesiastes 3:1. Just as the cycles of nature are unavoidable, Jesus recognized the rhythms of life and death, sowing and reaping. He understood that life itself is a constant motion, guided by divine timing and universal law. In the same way, his miracles reflected this natural flow. Whether it was calming storms or restoring life, Jesus tapped into the natural rhythms of the universe. He understood the importance of moving in tune with the cycles set by the Creator. His teachings often emphasized that, just as life moves in cycles, we too experience periods of highs and lows, of joy and sorrow, but in the depths of every challenge, there is the promise of renewal and growth. His words echoed this universal truth. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy comes in the morning. Psalm 30, verse 5. This timeless message reminds us that there is purpose in every season, and that challenges are often followed by relief and joy. The principle of rhythm urges us to trust in the divine timing of all things, understanding that every moment, every season, and every rhythm is part of a larger sacred cycle. Just as night follows day, so too does healing follow hardship and growth follow loss. No experience is permanent. Each phase is temporary and leads to the next. The sixth Hermetic principle is cause and effect. In the universe, nothing happens by chance. Every action has a reaction, and every cause has its effect. This profound principle teaches us that for every seed we plant, there will be a harvest, whether for good or ill. It is a law of nature and spirit, one that guides our actions and decisions. Jesus echoed this timeless wisdom when he said, "Whatever a man sows, that shall he also reap." Galatians 6:7. His teachings were a clear reflection of this universal truth. Every action, every word, and every thought has consequences. These consequences ripple outward, affecting not only our own lives, but also the world around us, often in ways we cannot immediately see. Through parables like the sower, Jesus emphasized the importance of intention and action. The seeds we sow, whether seeds of kindness, love, or selfishness, bear fruit in time. Just as the soil determines the fate of the seed, so too do our hearts shape the outcomes of our deeds. Our actions carry energy, and that energy always returns to us, magnified. In every miracle, Jesus demonstrated this principle in action. His healing touch was not merely physical, it was spiritual, sowing seeds of faith, hope, and forgiveness. The effects were transformative, not only for the individuals who were healed, but for the entire community around them. Each act of kindness, each moment of forgiveness, ripples outward, creating a chain of events that changes the fabric of the world. Every thought, every word, and every deed sets in motion a chain of events, often far beyond what we can see or understand. Jesus taught us that our choices have both immediate and eternal consequences. shaping not just our lives, but the spiritual essence of the world. Our actions are not isolated, but interconnected with the greater flow of life. The principle of cause and effect reminds us to act with intention and mindfulness, understanding that the seeds we plant today, whether seeds of kindness, love, or indifference, will inevitably bear fruit tomorrow. For with the measure you use, it will be measured back to you. Luke 6:38. This principle teaches us that everything we put into the world comes back to us, often in unexpected and transformative ways. As we follow Jesus' example, we learn that even the smallest act of goodness carries the power to change the world. Cause and effect is not just a law of nature, but a divine principle guiding our spiritual journey, urging us to live with purpose, intention, and awareness. Every moment is an opportunity to sow seeds of love and kindness, knowing that they will eventually bloom into something beautiful. The seventh Hermetic principle is gender. The universe operates through a delicate balance of forces, both masculine and feminine. This principle teaches that everything in creation carries both of these energies, each playing a vital role in the process of creation, manifestation, and renewal. The harmonious interaction of these energies is essential to the ongoing cycle of creation, maintaining balance and ensuring the perpetuation of life. Just as physical creation requires both masculine and feminine forces, so too does spiritual growth and transformation rely on their interplay. In the teachings of Jesus, we see an understanding and respect for both masculine and feminine qualities. He honored both not as opposites, but as complementary forces that work together in harmony. Jesus' interactions with women, such as his deep respect for Mary Magdalene, reflect a profound balance of these energies. Mary Magdalene was not merely a follower, but a vital part of his spiritual mission. In a time when women were often marginalized, Jesus elevated them, recognizing their divine role in the unfolding of God's plan. In her, we see the feminine energy of intuition, compassion, nurturing, and wisdom. Just as the sun provides life and the moon guides through the night, both masculine and feminine energies are necessary for balance and creation. Jesus understood this sacred dance, embodying both strength and tenderness, justice and mercy. His strength in challenging the corruption of the temple and his gentleness in healing the broken-hearted were not in conflict, but in perfect harmony. Reflecting the union of these divine principles, the Hermetic principle of gender reminds us that creation itself emerges from the interplay of masculine and feminine forces. In the same way, Jesus' teachings point to a divine balance that transcends gender, inviting us to embrace the wholeness of who we are. As we look to the heavens, we see this balance reflected in all things. In the spiritual journey, we are called to recognize both energies within ourselves, to embody the strength of the divine masculine and the nurturing wisdom of the divine feminine. Jesus showed us that the path to divine wisdom and creation is found in the union of these energies. The principle of gender is not about separation, but about unity, about coming together in perfect harmony to reflect the fullness of the Creator's design. Moreover, this sacred balance teaches us that our personal growth mirrors the greater cosmic order. When we nurture both our assertive and receptive qualities, we align ourselves with a universal rhythm that fosters healing and transformation. By embracing both aspects within, we cultivate a richer, more compassionate existence that honors the full spectrum of life. As we've explored these ancient Hermetic principles, we've seen how they resonate deeply with the teachings of Jesus. Though separated by time and tradition, the wisdom of Hermeticism and the message of Christ share striking parallels, both pointing to a deeper understanding of the universe and our place within it. Reflecting on these truths, we are invited to apply them in our own lives. Can we embrace the rhythms and cycles of life, trusting in divine timing? Can we sow seeds of love and light, knowing that what we give will return to us in kind? Can we embody the balance of masculine and feminine energies, creating harmony in ourselves and in the world around us? Thank you for joining us on this journey through the 7 Hermetic Principles and their connection to the teachings of Jesus. If these insights have resonated with you, now is the perfect time to continue your exploration.